Hello students, today is Thursday 29th of August 2019. If we look at the news development yesterday, a number of things happened, but particularly I will start with something which happened with regard to the freedom of the press or freedom of speech and expression, which is covered under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution. Yesterday some petitions were considered by the Supreme Court of India related to 370, that is abrogation of this article in Kashmir, but I will talk about the petition which was filed by the executive editor of the Kashmir Times with regard to curtailment of the press freedom and restrictions of journalists in Kashmir. Finally, Supreme Court took up that petition and decided to issue notice to the central government as well as the state government. Now, let me tell you initially, everybody would be knowing what is Supreme Court. This is the apex court of the country, though it's an appellate court. But then anything pertaining to fundamental right can directly be taken to the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court has taken cognizance of this and has issued notices. Now, what is important, whenever any petition is filed in the Supreme Court can accept it or can reject it. If the Supreme Court accepts it, it can issue the notices to the concerned party. If notices are issued, that is considered a very, very important step, and this is what has actually happened with regard to this petition of the curtailment of press freedom in Kashmir. Related to this, there is another important news which you must look at, that is regarding the Press Council of India. You would have heard of Press Council of India. This is a body of the media which is a representative body of media. It's a legal body as well, since it has been created through the Press Council Act passed by Parliament. It has a chairperson. These days there is a retired justice of the Supreme Court, C.K. Prasad, who is the chairperson of this body. Now there's a 28-member body wherein representation comes from all sections of the media. Chairman of the Press Council of India, Justice C.K. Prasad, he decided to intervene in the case which is pending before the Supreme Court, about which I was referring to, with regard to curtailment of press freedom in Kashmir. Now, intervention by the Press Council of India is a strange thing, but more strange is that he wanted to intervene in the case in support of the restrictions on the press freedom which have been imposed by the government. This is completely in contradiction with the mandate or in contradiction with his role as the PCI chief, because the role of the PCI is, there is twofold objectives with which this body has been created by Parliament, and one important aspect is that the Press Council of India will do the needful to protect the press freedom. So this was a very strange thing, shocking thing. This was opposed by the Editors Guild of India. Now, what is Editors Guild of India? Editors Guild of India is a body of the top editors of the country who are editing different newspapers, etc. So under pressure of the Editors Guild of India, Mr. Prasad, the PCI chairman, budged, and then he accepted that whatever he announced and he decided, that was his unilateral decision. He had not consulted his colleagues, the 28 members of the Press Council. Now he has said that he will consult these 28 members of the Press Council of India, and then he will decide his another course of action. Another important story related to press freedom is also about Mr. Kernan Gopinathan, who is an IAS officer and who was posted in Dadar, Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. He resigned from IAS, saying this, that he is not getting his urge fulfilled to express himself, particularly the curtailment of freedom, the freedom of the citizens of Kashmir for the last 3 weeks. So this is again very, very hard-hitting news. He resigned, though the government has not accepted his resignation, and he has been asked to resume his duty till the time his resignation is accepted. But the point that he has said yesterday, he said that he has resigned because he, as a citizen of the country, has a right to respond. He said that the government has a right to act, to take decision, whatever decision has been taken in Kashmir, but as a citizen of this country, he has a right to express whatever he feel about this, and he feel bad about this, and he talked about the citizens' right to respond. He talked about the citizens' right to dissent. He said that if citizens are not in agreement with the government, they should be given full opportunity and freedom to express themselves. So this is another dimension of the press freedom, which we call as the freedom of dissent, which is at the core of democracy. One more thing I will talk about, which is about FDI, that is foreign direct investment. Yesterday the cabinet held a meeting. Lot of measures were announced, but I will talk about two things. One, 100% FDI has been permitted in the coal sector. This is very important in the sense that coal is part of our infrastructure, and coal has always been in the public sector. So not only the government has allowed FDI, this is 100% FDI on the direct route. So this is one important. Another important thing that the government has allowed 26% FDI in the digital sector. If I can tell you, FDI is, I mean, we are in any foreign players, foreign companies come to the country and set up their enterprises, set up their factories, their infrastructure here. It contributes to development, it generates employment. So that is how any government always looks for the FDI. And in today's economic conditions in the world, wherein recession is happening, not many companies are coming forward, and India is always looking for FDI. So coming back to 26% FDI in digital sector, which is the first of its kind, but it's through government permission. If we look at other media sectors, already there is 26% FDI in the print, there is 26% FDI in television, in the news sector. Though in entertainment TV there is 100% FDI is permitted. In radio also, in radio earlier there used to be 20% and 26%, now it is 49%. So in the media sector also, if FDI comes, then obviously it will result in the growth of the media sector. That is all in this edition for today.